Welcome to the narratives. Dennis reveal.
Yeah, we always said that at 1,000 likes we'd reveal Dennis.
But it's not 1,000 likes, so
1,000 listens.
here we are. There he is.
Here he is. Look at him.
We're here to talk about
Look at him.
Dennis.
Look at him.
You want to know the story of this guy?
I do. Tell me.
You do?
I do.
Well, it all started back. Oh man, you stink. It started back
Back in the stink
when
zone.
I lived in Calgary. Look at the camera. Look at the camera, buddy. Look there. Look in.
Oh, I did it.
You did it. Thanks, buddy. When we lived in Calgary, so what happened was we were just enjoying winter, and I was about 2 years old. And
Duh, winter is enjoyable.
basically. And then we went outside this one day, and there's like these flower baskets we used to have that like they're just little planter pots, and it was filled with snow. And we went out there, and it was like, wow, there's a lot of snow. And my dad was like, wait a minute, that snow has a tail. And so we looked in the snow basket, and there was little Dennis, little baby Dennis, little tiny kitten, only the size of his head, just sleeping in the little basket.
Same.
My dad went, well, we can't just leave him to sleep in the basket. And so we took him inside.
So who named him Dennis?
My dad named him Dennis, so I'll get to that in a minute here.
Oh, okay.
So we took him inside, and this is we had Gumbo at the time, which is the other cat. He's not around anymore,
Oh, hey.
but he lived in the garage for a little bit. And what happened was my dad was just like, well, we're just gonna keep him in the garage, and we're not really gonna keep him because we're gonna see if anybody's gonna come around for him. Long story short,
This guy, how could they not come around?
nobody came around for him.
Oh.
Sad. We learned recently he's a flame point Himalayan cat, which means he's a mix between a Persian
Whoa.
and a Himalayan cat.
Did you do Ancestry.com on Deno?
Yeah, I did, basically.
I gotta get a picture of this. I'm sorry.
Look at him.
Look at he's in like a sitting neutral position.
He's in a sea. This is how he lives.
This is for Instagram, by the way. This is
Yeah.
how we make these. We just randomly take pictures, like we're fucking Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, that's front facing. That's gross. No one wants to see that on Instagram.
So he stayed in our garage for a little bit, and then what happened was one day someone had forgotten to
Oh my god, that's a good pic, dude.
open up the garage or like close the garage, and what had happened is he pushed the door open and he got into the house, and Gumbo was just like, "What the fuck?" And
Yo.
yeah, basically, because he's an old guy at that point already. He was like 2 years old, and little baby Dennis came like waddling in. He's like, and my dad came home and he went, "God, who let the Denny in?" But that's when they decided to name him Dennis, and get this, Dennis was his boss's name,
Oh.
and the reason he named him Dennis was so that
Hey,
he
boss
could
man.
take some stuff out on his boss. He never abused Dennis, but it was always funny to demean his boss down to the size of a cat, who's not very smart, but he's trying.
Oh, there he goes. He's going up.
So
Up.
that's only a little bit of his life, though. That was just the first little bit.
This is the intro
There's
saga.
pictures of him. He and I used to be best buds. What would happen is I had like one of those walker things, with like the circle around him as a
yeah.
baby, and he would curl up like this around the walker. He doesn't like it much anymore, and he'd just curl around me.
I don't like it anymore.
And I'd just walk around with Dennis, and I'd be like, "How do I get him off?" And he'd just be like, "I'm sleeping," and I just like walk around.
I am sleeping.
He also, the cutest thing when he was a little kitten, he'd pick up my little socks in his mouth and he'd just run around with them and try and hide them. And I'd always be like, "Dennis, my socks!" Because I was a little 2-year-old. We're roughly the same age, so he's about 18 years now.
I'm gonna need
Which
a
is pretty
Dennis
old.
real soon.
You want to hold him?
Oh my god, look at his eyes.
Look at him. He's sleepy.
Look at his eyes.
We woke him from his sleep to get you this prime footage. I don't think he wants to move right
It's
now.
probably why he's so chill.
Yeah. And so he's not sedated. He's actually just like this in real life. He's super
Johnny
lethargic.
Cash amphetamine right now.
Yeah. And so
Oh, he's doing a peek and do it.
he's looking at it. Look at that.
He's almost deaf, by the way.
Yeah, he's really old. So
Oh, hey, sorry.
I like to think that he used up one of his 9 lives. In my bedroom, I used to have a bunk bed, and he jumped off the top of the bunk bed.
Yo,
This was back when he was like 2.
you're
Right?
probably down to like 1.
He jumped off the top of his bunk bed, and he landed on his head because he got stuck between the dresser and the bunk bed, and he just like went straight down, and it was just like head, and like he got stuck, and he was like basically.
Torpedo Denny.
And I was like, "Dennis, jeez, you gotta stop doing that." And basically for a long time he was my brother's cat because I liked Gumbo more. I'm sorry, Dennis.
Yo, hey, cover his ears.
I like Gumbo more because he was more chill. He liked to snuggle with me. I trained Gumbo to do some like neat tricks too.
Yeah, he
which
could do a
sounds weird.
780 cross flip on a skateboard.
I do this thing, side quest Gumbo, where I'd pull on his front legs and
Yo.
then he'd walk onto my chest.
That's not a trick.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
assault.
I just tap on his front
Yoink.
legs. I just tap on it, like, just super lightly. Just tap on his front legs
Demonstrate
and he'd
on
walk.
Dennis.
He'd, like,
I know it won't work if you put him
like, I just tap like that. Like, that's it. I just go like that
okay.
on his front legs and he'd walk onto my chest and then just lay down.
Yeah, my cat.
I trained
Ivan
him to
does
do that.
We're gonna have Ivan on the next one.
Yeah, look at him. He looks so sleepy. He's ready to go to sleep now. Look at that. But Dennis was always like my
He's so good.
my brother's cat.
Support the feet.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him up.
Yo, I got the feeties. Just keep on going.
And so he just lived his life, and we caught him a numerous amount of times on the roof. He liked to jump up onto the roof of our house, which was kind of nuts. But he never like hurt himself. He was a wild cat. He was big. You can tell by like his size. He used to be super muscular. He was like
Yo, Dennis
was
could
ripped.
outbench you.
Yeah, he could honestly.
Not anymore.
He's gone past the point. But he was a ripped dude. He'd attack cats. The problem was, we got him declawed back when it was still legal to do that. In Calgary, because we had nice leather couches and they didn't really. And people are gonna be like, you cruel man.
Yeah.
And it's not really the greatest thing, but my dad he likes leather and he
Still
didn't
got
want-
this back one.
He still got his back ones, so we only did the front ones, which is nice because I'd be ripped to shreds if he had the front ones, knowing him.
Yeah.
So, numerous amounts of
yeah.
times he just killed things in the yard just for fun and ate them.
With no claws?
Yeah,
He
that's
just
how metal he
punched
was.
the fuck out of a
That's how
bird?
metal he was. Yeah,
Yo.
I'm not even kidding. He was a metal cat. Oh,
Yo, his feeties. I'd stop holding him and he went, Father, why?
he was a metal cat, and
Yo, come
so
here,
that's
duck.
basically that's. But then tragedy struck one year when we were out late doing. My mom was helping out at Burt Church High School in Airdrie. We were all helping out for the musical production that they were doing, and we came home late at 11 o'clock, and we had forgotten that we left Dennis outside.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This wasn't the first time that we had forgotten we left Dennis outside.
You can tell this
there
is-
was another time this year you can tell we left him outside in minus 40-degree weather by accident.
We accidentally repeated the movie Alive with Dennis.
We didn't realize he was outside and it was minus 40, and then we finally figured out that he was blending in with the snow, and we went, you gotta come inside. His ear got frostbite, so
Oh, it's floppy now.
yeah, it's floppy. His other one's okay. He got a little bit of frostbite, but it got floppy. And we were good to him. We got him all warm and stuff. But then back to the other time we accidentally left him outside because he just ran outside. He was they were outdoor cats, so we were just used to it at that point.
I guess
so.
we found him outside, yeah.
So they'd always just come back home. But what happened was 11 o'clock at night. We found him on the front step, and he was just asleep on the front step. And we were like, oh, he must have just been waiting for us. No, we picked him up, or my dad picked him up, and all of a sudden he pulled away his hand, and it was covered in blood. His neck, right about here, had been bitten by some large animal. You be free, buddy. You go.
Yay, my Dennis.
Large animal had bitten him in the neck.
Come here, buddy.
And so
Hey, Mr. Guy.
what he had done is
Come on down,
crawled
Tuesday.
back to our house, laid down on the front step, and realized that nobody was there. It's a sad time. He passed out from blood loss, but luckily it was cold enough
Hey, Danny.
that the blood clotted around his neck,
Hey, Danny.
so it froze solid. We drove at 11 o'clock at night to the vet.
Hey.
The vet had just closed, so we had to drive all the way into Calgary, which was a 30-minute drive. And my mom said she felt him stop breathing at least 3 times on the ride, and he just like wake up again. He was in a shock. So we took him to the pet hospital. We brought him in, and they're like, "Ooh, things aren't looking good. You know, his neck is very, very bad."
You can go. Hey.
So,
Look at this dude.
he's
This is what that happened. This is what that creates.
yeah. He was once a metal dude, and if he had had his front claws, he would have beaten the fuck out of whatever beat him up. But
Yeah. That's
but
probably
yeah.
why it happened. Wow.
we're thinking it was like a raccoon, just like raccoons are vicious, but Dennis was vicious. He
Is
was
extra
nuts.
vicious.
He was nuts. Like, you don't know. It's hard to tell what he was now, but He was a nuts guy.
Oh,
anyway.
when we brought Dennis over to Kelsey's house,
Oh, yeah,
his fish just reemerged. Oh my
that was
god.
crazy.
He tried to axe murder Kovu.
Yeah, it was wild. He asserted dominance quicker than you could even snap
Immediately.
your finger.
Holy shit.
Kovu just ran to the basement, and Dennis just laid on the top of the steps. And it was
He
just
did. He was like, anytime I see you, I will scream.
Yeah.
Kovu was like, I just wanted some food. He's
Yeah.
like, no.
So
You're not allowed food.
what happened was
The
they
winner.
did the surgery, and he ended up living through it. The next day we picked him up.
Spoiler alert, he lived.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he lived. But he had 3 tubes in his neck. So he had these drainage tubes all over his neck. You want down? You want back in my lap?
I think he wants back.
Come here, buddy. So we had 3 drainage tubes
Praised.
in his neck. And for the next few days, it smelled god awful because they never told us that we were supposed to clean out the drainage tubes. So basically there was just rotting blood and Dennis in the tubes. You're standing up now. He's full height.
Hey,
Look at this guy.
well,
Doing a tap.
he's doing a kung fu guy.
Yeah.
Squitchers, bye.
And so we had no idea that this was supposed to happen because after a week we basically like told them, we're like, why does it smell so goddamn bad? And they're like, did you clean them? And we're like, well, you didn't tell us to clean them. So you have to take a syringe and just like squish some water in his tubes, I guess. I don't know.
his tube.
Other thing, he almost died again because he refused to drink water.
What is he, Gandhi?
Yeah, he was like, he just hide. And we all felt super bad because I'd like,
How are you still kicking? What are you on?
he just refused water.
What are you
So
on?
like, there's times where I just hung out with him in the bathtub.
Yo, you
Because
cannot
he
rebel
only
on the microphone.
he only stayed in our parents' bedroom because he didn't want to move very far. So we brought him like wet food, and my dad tried to feed him. He wouldn't eat. He tried to give him water. He wouldn't drink. So we ended up having to force like drink him. We got a syringe, and we just like he resisted hard, but he kept him alive. You got to put it that way. It kept him alive. He didn't know it was for his own good, right? So we put some water in a syringe and got it in there.
He's eating now and drinking now. He's fine now.
Yeah, he's eaten more than he ever could believe. And so we got him the water and the food, and he started recovering and coming better over time. And eventually we took him back to the doctor, and they said he's A-okay. He's good now. But the one thing is, his eyes fricked up. His up good. Yeah, you might not. You can do a thing really quick just to check. You'll notice
Whoa, hey, eye guy.
when you look, only one eye closes when you
Oh, yeah.
when you flinch at him. It's because his other eye he has no control over. I think he's half blind in that eye too, because that was the side he got attacked on. So I'm like, nah. Remember? No, you don't. Good.
He's deaf. He doesn't even know what we're talking about.
Hello.
He's just like, I'm getting pets? All right.
Yeah. So that happened, and then basically everything was uneventful. He became a little bit lazier, and then Gumbo died, and he was sad. A weird thing, we left him with his corpse for the weekend, so that probably wasn't very good. Because my dad was like, well, we'll just put him to sleep and then go to the trailer. And I was like, maybe we should deal with it first. And then he was like, nah, trailer. And so we went to the trailer and came back, and Dennis was just like chilling. He was just like, yo, yeah, you want to deal with this dead body? And we were like, yeah.
CSI Dennis.
So,
Don't jump, dude.
yeah.
You're too weak. Do not do it.
He's
No.
getting a little bit nervous. He doesn't like being in one spot for too long.
Well, he's walking. Hey, come here. This is not more than one.
He just wants down.
He just
That's it.
wants you.
No, he wants down. He's trying to get off of me. And so
Here, Dennis.
that was the next thing that happened in his life. And then after that, we moved to Red Deer. And he doesn't like cars at all.
He pisses in him when we put him in him.
Yeah. So
He didn't.
basically the same thing happened. We moved him all the way to Red Deer. And it's an hour and a half drive. And we're like, wow, he's done such a good job just sleeping in the back seat. We get to Red Deer and pick him out, and there's turd all over the back seat. He's gone and done his business like a true man, trooper, and he comes out shaking. He's like, "Where the frick am I? This is weird." And now he's an indoor cat, which was probably a hard move for him. Transition. He didn't really go outside a lot more after the neck injury. That was kind of spooky. And
He's highly debating just going.
yeah,
He's done.
since then.
He's like Kurt Cobain.
We've been trying to keep care of him as best we can with our busy lifestyles. He's kind of a dick sometimes.
He is a mega dick sometimes.
If you
Especially
see-
at 3 a.m. when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
asleep and you're like, oh, leave the door open. Maybe Dennis will visit. And then at 3 a.m. he goes, because he can't meow anymore. A point we never hit on. His
Yeah.
meow just comes out as,
He doesn't like to meow all that often. So.
No. And
He's
it's
just
only
gonna-
when there's food.
He's just gonna move to the back. I'm just gonna switch footage here so we get more Dennis. There he is. He's asleep, and
Yeah.
so it was at this point that we just sort of started, letting him do his own thing. After recently he got really skinny
Yeah.
because
he's like, food? More like,
he hated dry food because he's eaten it for so long, and then he just like got bored of dry food, and
I
so we
get
were like,
that.
well, maybe we should try wet food, and we gave him wet food, and then he was like, holy fucking wet food. And so
that's
all
what
he
I
eats is
remember
wet
the
food,
first time I had wet food.
and so like at
Like, whoa.
at around like 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. if you come upstairs and he's got no wet food in his dish,
He will scream.
He'll do a video. I'll show a video clip right now. You'll get an idea. So yeah, he'd do that, and it's kind of nuts. And also, it turns out when my dad gets home, he'd also do that.
Yeah.
At 6 o'clock at night, he'll just trace my dad up the stairs. He will zoom.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
and that's where he is right now. Look at him. He's gone deaf.
Dennis.
He doesn't care.
Look at the camera
He's
guy.
living the life. There he is. He's so a cutie.
He's a cutie guy.
He's such a cutie. Look at him. And that, my friends, is the story of Dennis.
This is a good episode.
It really was.
Totally impromptu, but I mean, I feel it. Every second of it was heart-wrenching and really motivating.
Yeah, you got to think about how Dennis has persevered. Think about how big of a
Be a Dennis.
big metal, dude.
I want to inspire our audience to
Punch those birds out of the sky.
punch fucking birds.
And gophers and mice.
Don't just look at birds. I want you to punch birds out of the sky. I want you to find a mouse and literally like Rocky Balboa it into the ground
Yeah.
with your fists.
You better be punching birds.
This has been The Narratives, the Dennis saga. Thank you for listening.
We'll cover something else next week.
Like, Ivan. My cat.
Comrade.